Looks like we've got a pretty interesting story here about Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. So what ended up happening was, I guess, that Alex Jones is attorney in the Sandy Hook case. I don't know what number this is, how many attorneys he's had to go through for this case. Been a lot. It appears that the jury had found him liable to pay $4.9 million to the victims of Sandy Hook. But usually when the jury comes with the verdict in terms of a civil case and number, usually the judge ends up cutting it down. So I'm not sure if it's actually going to end up being the 4.9 million or not, honestly. So, we'll have to see how that ends up going. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an attorney. But it appears that his attorney had actually sent the other side in discovery all of Alex Jones's text messages. Okay, it's supposedly ended up being a potential perjury situation, but it didn't look like it ended up doing that. But it appears that Tucker Carlson is somebody who was consistently texting Mr. Alex Jones. So it says Tucker Carlson, quote, shitting himself, scared that his Alex Jones text may leak. Here's what it says. It says, Tucker Carlson is, quote, shitting himself over the possibility that text between him and far-right conspiracy loon Alex Jones will leak, a source close to the Fox News star told Confider. Carlson and the raving Infowars ranter trade text messages on a daily basis. Wow. According to two people familiar with their relationship. If made public, these sources said the text messages would be, quote, highly embarrassing for Carlson. 2 years' worth of text messages sent and received by Jones are now in the possession of the U.S. House Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection after the far-right conspiracy king's lawyers accidentally sent a digital copy of all of his texts to the lawyers representing the families affected by the Sandy Hook Elementary tragedy, which Jones repeatedly dubbed a hoax. Last week, a Texas jury ruled that Jones must pay a combined $4.9 million in compensatory and punitive damages to the parents of one of the school children in the 2012 mass tragedy. This is the lawyer representing the families. Mark Bankston has publicly said the texts include intimate messages between Jones and self-described dirty trickster Roger Stone, who melted down on Telegram and called for Jones to sue his own attorney. Now, this is something a little bit separate, but I actually read that I guess Alex had sent Roger Stone a nude picture of his wife. Yeah, that's very, very bizarre. Definitely not a common thing, but, if that's something that you're into, obviously you're not going to, make fun of whoever's doing that. If that's what you're into, that's fine. But I just don't think it really fits necessarily the particular messaging and ideologies of conservatives and Republicans. So, maybe getting into, I don't know what kind of stuff that's into, but, funny nonetheless. It says, Carlson and Jones have maintained a friendly relationship for years. The Fox News primetime stars made multiple appearances on Infowars, gushed over Jones's unhinged rhetoric, branded him more talented than I am, and supplied a fawning blurb for the bullshitting blowhard's upcoming book. So, basically what's going on here is there's clearly some text messages that he has received that is now in the possession of the January 6th committee as a result of his attorney sending the text messages to the opposition in the Sandy Hook case, right? So now the question is going to be what exactly could be in the text messages. Now I think even just the information that they exchange messages on a daily basis is a big deal. Obviously that's going to impact his coverage, but also it goes to show you what kind of a person Tucker Carlson himself is. Because a lot of people try to deny because he tries to play this crypto fascist kind of role where you're not super out there about your racism and fascism. You try to, dibble dabble in it in a way that there's plausible deniability still at play. And so there's not 100% clear what exactly your motive is and what exactly your thoughts are. And so this can give us more information as viewers and people who know. And maybe text messages come out where he's, saying really, bad things, saying racist things, for example, sexist things directly. And we can learn truly what kind of a person Tucker Carlson is. So we can't have this stupid conversation, this exercise in futility of a conversation of, is Tucker Carlson a racist or is he, just somebody who's, he's just a right-wing populist? Which one is he? He's a right-wing populist or is he just, just a full-out racist, right? And I think Tucker Carlson is a really shitty person with really, really bad, deplorable ideas, and this can give us more information into that. Now, obviously, releasing private text messages is not a good thing, generally speaking. But this is a situation, I think, in when it's kind of like the results kind of, the ends justify the means, right? I think it would be that kind of a thing. But it'll be really interesting to see. Let me know what y'all think. What exactly is in them text messages? You think it's maybe some nudes of themselves too? Who knows? I'm just kidding. That's probably not it. But given the Roger Stone situation, only God knows.